You know, when we talk about the public sector, the word governance gets thrown around a lot. But what does it really mean to build sustainable governance from the inside out? Let's dive in and see why this is so absolutely critical right now.
So let's start with a big question. How do we actually measure something like governance? I mean, it's not as simple as just ticking a few boxes on a form. We're talking about real performance, the public's trust, and creating a system that won't crumble under pressure. Getting this right is really the first big step.
And here's why it's so important. A single slip-up in governance is never just one small mistake. It's like a domino effect. It starts by damaging your public image, which then hits your performance, and before you know it, you're facing serious financial problems. The consequences are almost never isolated. And that's the real challenge, right? Taking governance from some dusty old policy document and turning it into a living, breathing part of how an organization actually works every single day.
Look, this is not just some textbook theory. We have all seen real-world examples, both here and around the globe, where a breakdown in governance led to massive financial crises and completely destroyed reputations. It just goes to show you need to be proactive, not reactive. Okay, so if we know the risks are that huge, the question is obvious. How do we build a governance framework that actually prevents this? Something that doesn't just work today, but is sustainable for years to come. Well, let's look at what that's built on. Building that kind of strong framework always starts with the foundation, and that means mastering the core concepts that all effective governance is built upon. One key idea here is something called agency theory. Now, it sounds academic, but it's actually pretty simple. Think of it this way. The principals, that could be the public or shareholders, trust the agents, the management, to do what's best for them. Good governance is all about making sure their goals stay aligned. It's that balance of trust and oversight that makes everything work.
And to help with that, we have powerful, internationally recognized frameworks like COSO for internal controls, or the principles behind laws like Sarbanes-Oxley, which came about directly because of major corporate scandals. These aren't just a bunch of rules. They are proven, battle-tested systems for ensuring integrity.
And when you boil it all down, these frameworks really rest on a few key pillars. You see them right here. Things like accountability, transparency, leadership, fairness. These are the non-negotiables. They are the essential building blocks for creating a system that everyone, from your own employees to the general public, can actually believe in. Now, a structured way to get a handle on all this is to break it down. You start with the foundational concepts, then you move to the specific roles of the key decision makers, like the board of directors, and finally, you see how that all connects to external oversight. Each layer builds perfectly on the last.
But you know, theory is one thing. It means nothing if you don't have clear responsibilities. So the next critical piece is defining exactly who is responsible for what. And it's so important to understand the difference between the key players. On one side, you've got the board of directors. They're setting the strategy and keeping an eye on things. On the other side, you have all the stakeholders, employees, investors, the public, everyone who has a vested interest in how things turn out. Good governance is all about managing the dynamic between these two groups.
And the board's job? Oh, it goes way beyond just sitting in a few meetings. It's about actively making sure objectives are met, putting the right leaders in place, and maintaining constant oversight. This is where governance stops being just a set of rules and becomes a living, active process.
So once you've got the concepts and the roles down, what does all this look like in practice? Let's talk about the practical skills and outcomes you'll gain from a strong governance framework. Because really, the goal here isn't just about learning things. It's about being able to do things. So what are the tangible results you're going to walk away with? We see it as a clear four-step path. First, you have to truly understand the core elements. That knowledge then allows you to identify potential red flags before they blow up into a crisis. From there, it's all about being able to execute your own role with confidence. And finally, to actively manage all those stakeholder relationships to make sure everyone is headed in the same direction.
At the end of the day, making sure you have strong governance is a leadership challenge. It really requires leaders at all levels of the public sector to step up and be proactive. So, who exactly are we talking about here? Who in an organization is most responsible for making this happen? Where does that responsibility truly lie? While the top leadership definitely sets the tone, a lot of the real work is done by mid-level management and financial controllers. These are the people on the front lines, translating that high-level strategy into day-to-day operational integrity.
To put it simply, if you are directly involved in the process of getting results for your organization, then you have a stake in good governance. This program is all about practical implementation, not just abstract theory.
So the final question is really for anyone working in the public sector today. Are you ready to lead the way on sustainability and resilience? Because strong governance isn't just a policy, it's the very foundation on which public trust is built.